Look at the Niners. That's the cautionary tale. What's happening with the Niners as we speak is the cautionary tale for trading up into the top 3, top 1 to get your quarterback. The Niners traded 3 first-round picks for Trey Lance. This is not an exaggeration. It's in the running for being the worst trade in NFL history. They got 262 snaps of mediocre football from Trey Lance. He's now, at best, their third stringer. At worst, going to be traded away for scraps. 262 snaps. But it gets worse. I'm going to go the late, great Billy Mays, the infomercial guy. But wait, there's more. The 3 picks that they traded to the Dolphins turned into Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and Bradley Chubb. They essentially built a contender off of the trade that you gave up for Trey Lance. But wait, there's more. For $19.99, you can also get a flashlight that doubles as a baseball bat. I don't know, those infomercials, right? Can your knife cut through a shoe? The more, in this case, is the 10 players chosen after Trey Lance. Okay, so the Niners trade up to number 3. They take Trey Lance. The 10 players immediately following, Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Penei Sewell, J.C. Horn, Patrick Surtain, Devontae Smith, Justin Fields, Micah Parsons, Rashawn Slater. That is 6 Pro Bowlers amongst them.
Yeah.
And the 6 Pro Bowlers don't include Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, or Justin Fields.
They're all pretty good.
Honestly, J.C. Horn, if he could get healthy for the Panthers, they all might be pretty darn successful picks.
Yeah. That's a really good draft.
It's a really good draft, except for Trey Lance.
Yeah.
So if you don't take Trey Lance there, it doesn't matter what your evaluation is. You likely would have landed on a Pro Bowler. Any of them. The pick you traded away, again, which the Dolphins even traded away, but that ended up being Micah Parsons. Can you imagine the Niners with Micah Parsons?
To go along with Nick Bosa?
Can you imagine the Niners with any of it? I mean, throw Penei Sewell opposite of Trent Williams. Throw Jamar Chase opposite of Deebo Samuel and move Brandon Ayuk into the slot. Throw another great corner out there in Surtain or Horn. There's nothing but, oh my goodness, rosters if they take any of these other guys. So let's look at the Carolina trade, right? Because that's what the risk is. When you give up all of that, it's not like, hey, Trey Lance might not work out. It's Trey Lance might not work out, and the opportunity cost of what we could have spent might be multiple Hall of Famers. Right? Because the Dolphins ended up using those picks to trade for Tyreek Hill, to trade for Bradley Chubb, and the pick ended up being Micah Parsons. That right there, unbelievable. So let's look at the Carolina trade, right? This is how high the stakes are. The trade for Bryce Young ended up being the number 9 overall pick, the number 61 overall pick. Next year, another first rounder. The year after, a second rounder, and DJ Moore. We already know the how this turns out a little bit. The 9th overall pick was Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter is getting rave reviews out of Eagles camp. He's a very, very large individual that, if there weren't character concerns, probably would have been a top 3 pick. So just to be clear, you could have just stayed where you were and got Jalen Carter. That's the equivalent of the Niners could have just stayed where they were and got Micah Parsons. Instead, you traded it away. They also, the 61st pick turned into Brenton Strange, a tight end from Penn State. We'll wait and see, right? The tight ends are notoriously difficult to predict, so maybe whatever you ended up being, the 4th or 5th tight end draft, it'll become the best. You don't know. Next year, they still owe a first rounder. After watching 2 preseason games, is anyone really confident that first rounder won't be very high? I mean, top half of the draft? Are you pretty comfortable saying that? Top 15? The year after that, a second rounder. Anybody confident saying that won't be a top 40, 45 pick? And DJ Moore, who we already know is good because we've seen him be good. And oh, by the way, the Panthers are struggling to find healthy wide receivers outside of Thielen and Mingo. There's a lot of opportunity cost in that trade. So you better darn sure do everything you possibly can to make Bryce Young a success. Because if Bryce Young is not a success, we're going to start doing the math just like we're doing for Trey Lance right now. Which is doing all the things we started this segment with. Wow, you could have had Justin Fields and not had to trade up. Right? And Justin Fields seems to be everything that you thought Trey Lance was. Raw, needs time as a passer, but man, the athlete. Could have taken Kyle Pitts, who looks like a generational tight end, paired him with George Kittle. Think of the positional versatility, right? We're going to be doing that with the Panthers if it doesn't work out. However, if it does work out,
great move.
Then we're just going to talk about Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Then we're just like, nobody talks about, what the Giants had to give, Phillip Rivers actually, what the Giants had to give up for Eli Manning. They just talk about the Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Good thing he worked out, because you would have been really upset if you didn't get Phillip Rivers and then you drafted a quarterback that didn't work. So do what you have to do to make Bryce Young successful, or else you'll be the butt of. And by the way, the Niners have a really good roster. They're ridiculously lucky that Brock Purdy hit in the 7th round, because if not, they'd be rolling out Sam Darnold.
It's amazing how the 49ers have 2 former number 3 overall picks in their quarterback room, yet it's Mr. Irrelevant who's starting.
Which is, what actual draft pick? 262.
Yeah.
They have 2 guys totaling 6 draft picks, 3 and 3, 3rd overall and 3rd overall. 262, the obvious starter.
It's weird how it works.
And he looks like a Harbaugh.
He does. He really.
If you don't get it, just Google Brock Purdy Harbaugh. You'll see the pictures. It's pretty funny. He looks like a Harbaugh. Maybe he could coach Michigan for the first 3 games.
Yeah.
Huh? Possibly. We'll see. Maybe the Ravens will trade for him. Get that first rounder back.